In a historic labor movement known as the stand-up strike, the United Auto Workers, UAW, have unleashed a major union movement within the automotive industry. This strike, set to potentially become one of the largest in the industry's history, has taken on all three giants of the American automotive landscape: General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis, the parent company of Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, Dodge, and Fiat. Join us in this video as we explore the ongoing UAW strike and all there is about it. As the clock struck 11:59 p.m. on a Thursday evening, the UAW, representing hundreds of thousands of auto industry workers, called its members to action. A resounding 13,000 workers heeded the call and walked off the job, setting the stage for an industry-shaking confrontation. Let's take a closer look at the UAW itself. What is the UAW, and who does it comprise? The International Union, United Automobile, Aerospace, and Agricultural Implement Workers of America, or simply the United Auto Workers, UAW, boasts an impressive membership of 400,000 active members and over 580,000 retired members spread across the United States, Canada, and Puerto Rico. With a network of 600 local unions, the UAW represents a diverse array of workers, including those in multinational corporations, small manufacturers, state and local governments, colleges, universities, hospitals, and private nonprofit organizations. Since its establishment in 1935, the UAW has left an indelible mark on labor history, participating in strikes and labor disputes that secured pivotal concessions, such as the first employer-paid health insurance plan for industrial workers and the introduction of cost-of-living allowances. Now, let's delve into the heart of the matter. Who are the UAW striking against? The UAW has set its sights on the formidable trio known as the Detroit Three: General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis. These automotive giants have been the targets of this monumental strike, with approximately 13,000 UAW members forming picket lines to voice their demands. This strike is no ordinary labor action. It marks the first time in history that all three of the Detroit automakers find themselves simultaneously under the shadow of a united UAW strike. As the clock ticked towards the contract deadline's midnight hour, workers mobilized at targeted plants in Michigan, Missouri, and Ohio, voicing their grievances. The initial impact of this strike will idle a single plant under each automaker's banner, potentially forcing production halts at other locations and sending ripples through the economies of factory towns across the Midwest. A fresh strategy is at play here, as described by UAW's president Shawn Fain. Select local unions have taken a stand, initiating this coordinated strike effort. It's a departure from the past, where strikes were often aimed at a single automaker and occasionally disrupted production for several weeks. One notable example was the 40-day shutdown of General Motors plants in 2019, ultimately leading to a new contract agreement between the company and the union. It's worth noting that the plants initially designated for walkouts on this fateful Friday represent just a fraction of the unionized factories operated by GM, Ford, and Stellantis. However, the strategic choice of these sites is significant, as they produce some of the most profitable vehicles for these automakers, including the Ford Bronco Sport utility vehicle and the Chevrolet Colorado pickup. Shawn Fain has made it abundantly clear that this strike has the potential to expand further if contract negotiations continue to stall. In essence, this strike represents a shift in approach, characterized by a steadfast determination on the part of the UAW. Labor lawyer Dennis Devaney aptly notes, "This is certainly a different approach, and Fain is talking tough and has got tough proposals." As the strike unfolds, its impact on the automotive industry and its future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The UAW's stand-up strike is poised to leave an indelible mark on the history of labor and the automotive landscape. The impact of these disputes reaches across the nation, from Missouri to Ohio and Michigan. The affected plants include a GM plant in Wentzville, Mo, that makes the GMC Canyon as well as the Colorado, and a Stellantis complex in Toledo, Ohio, that makes the Jeep Gladiator and Wrangler. At Ford's Michigan assembly plant in Wayne, which makes the Bronco alongside the Ranger pickup, only workers from the assembly area and paint shop will walk out, Mr. Fain said. The GM plant employs 3,600 hourly workers, according to the union, and the Stellantis plant, 5,800. The union also said about 3,300 workers at Ford's Michigan assembly plant would be affected. The demands of the United Auto Workers (UAW) union has set the stage for this labor showdown. Their call for a substantial 40% wage increase over the next 4 years has garnered attention, especially when compared to the significant compensation hikes seen among the chief executives of these automotive giants in recent years. UAW President Mr. Fain, who assumed office this year, is championing various other worker-centric requests. These include cost of living adjustments to combat rising inflation, shorter work weeks, improvements to retiree pensions and health care, and increased job security measures, such as the ability to strike at plants facing closure. Additionally, he seeks alterations to the wage scale, which currently starts new hires at approximately $17 an hour, taking them 8 years to reach the coveted top UAW wage of $32 per hour. Negotiations have seen some progress, with manufacturers meeting the UAW halfway on wage increases, though they've shown reluctance toward most other demands. General Motors, for instance, has proposed a 20% wage increase over the new contract's lifespan, with a notable 10% boost in the first year. Cost of living adjustments are in the mix, but primarily for more senior employees. Furthermore, they've agreed to accelerate new hires' journey to the top wage tier, reducing it to 4 years. General Motors' CEO, Mary Barra, expressed her perspective in a video statement, emphasizing the importance of balancing wage growth, job security, and long-term stability. She also pointed out the implications of acceding to all of the union's demands, warning that such concessions could hamper the company's substantial investments in the transition to electric vehicles. Ford and Stellantis have also presented fresh proposals in the final hours leading up to the deadline, though details of these offers remain undisclosed. The situation has garnered the attention of the Biden administration, with President Biden engaging in discussions with Mr. Fain and automotive company leaders. While not delving into the specifics of the negotiations, President Biden encourages all parties to remain at the table, striving for a fair contract that prioritizes worker welfare. These demands from the UAW mark a significant departure from the past 2 decades when the auto industry struggled, necessitating substantial concessions to ensure its survival. However, in recent times, General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis have reported record earnings, underlining the shifting dynamics of the industry. Ford, in the first half of the year, boasted profits of $3.7 billion, while General Motors raked in $5 billion. Stellantis, not to be outdone, reported impressive profits of 11 billion euros, equivalent to around $11.9 billion. Mr. Fain, who emerged from the ranks as an electrician at Chrysler and transitioned into union leadership, campaigned on a platform of taking a more assertive and confrontational approach to contract negotiations. He has repeatedly drawn attention to the substantial salaries of automotive CEOs. Last year, Mary Barra of General Motors received a staggering $29 million, while Ford's Jim Farley earned $21 million, and Stellantis's chief Carlos Tavares received a compensation package worth approximately $25 million. The ramifications of an extended strike are far-reaching. It could disrupt the availability of new vehicles, driving prices higher and sending ripples throughout the automotive supply chain. Beyond the industry, other businesses could suffer as workers subsist on $500 per week in strike pay from the union. The backdrop of the pandemic still looms large over the auto industry. Production came to a grinding halt when the coronavirus struck, severely depleting vehicle supplies, with current domestic car inventories standing at just a quarter of their 2019 levels. This labor dispute further complicates an industry already grappling with pandemic-induced challenges. What do you have to say about this strike? Are they demanding too much, or are their demands justified? Let us know down in the comments section.